Now, how do I know if this thing is going? Do I trust this little remote? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Hey guys, it's Susan and welcome back to my channel, Hot Mess Quilter. In this video, we're going to go over what you see behind me, my Grace Q-Zone Hoop Frame Pro and my Babylock Jazz setup. So this is kind of a prelude to when we actually get to free motion quilting. You might have a better idea of how my process works. This particular piece of equipment is in my basement. You would crack up if you saw how this was. All my exercise equipment is on this side. Storage, Christmas decorations, you know, I'm a real person. Over here, I got a sauna over here. So those late nights when your shoulders are aching after your quilting, you can just pop in there for a few minutes and rejuvenate yourself. And then I needed to be able to clear off a space to put this nearly 5-foot frame. So I shoved everything out of the way. On the wall behind my frame is a quilt that my grandmother made. My grandmother has been gone since 1977, I think. I would venture to say this quilt is probably close to 70 years old. It's all hand pieced. It is all hand quilted. She would have a quilting bee type thing at her house and everyone would come over and they would, quilt these quilts on actual frames in her living room. It is worn out, this quilt. The binding is coming off, the batting is barely existent, and there's places that are just thoroughly worn and the fabric is starting to shred. I would venture to guess that a lot of that is probably just some old shirts, old clothes, that kind of thing that, grandmas did back in those days. So anyway, come along with me. We're going to do a quick little overview of how my current setup is for my free motion quilting. Okay, so we're just going to do kind of a little overview. As you can see, this Grace frame is adjustable. I currently have it set up so I can quilt while standing, but I do find that my body mechanics are terrible. So I purchased this little stool right here so that I can sit on it and still continue to use my presser foot. So I got my little ancient dog over here, my poor baby girl. She is 16 years old. I have a big trash can here, storage for all my cloth leaders and any extra things. And then I have like thread, bobbins, needles, that kind of stuff over here. So let's do a close-up of the frame. So the frame, as a hoop frame, means there's no roller. So you're not able to roll your quilt on or pass it through that way. You use clamps. You use these clamps to clamp the quilt to the frame, and then you use these to put the front over, so the quilt is going to come over like so, drape over, and then these actually ratchet so you can add some tension and adjust, and we'll be doing that eventually. This frame also came with some side clamps if you didn't want to use the leaders. I purchased this light at I want to say Menards. It does help. And I also use very bright 100 watt Sylvania bulbs in my ceiling. So I won't bore you with how hideous all that looks. Okay, so the frame itself was pretty easy to put together. The Pro version has this black table so that I could attach panos to it if I wanted to, all right? So it has adjustable legs, everything ratcheted together, and the tools all came with it. Now, for my Jazz Babylock, this has, I believe, a 13-inch throat. I don't know. It's got a good sized throat, which is pretty good, but actual quilting space is probably only about 9 inches. It fits on the carriage, locks into place with these locks right. So any machine that you can sew on, you can use on the Grace Q-Zone hoop frame. Now, because these are sewing machines and not true long arms, you can see that if I went back too far, that my needle bar would actually hit this leader bar right here. So I put some books back here so that when I slide this back, it stops it so that my needle doesn't actually hit the bar. This is my view. So you can see it's a little awkward. I find myself leaning back, causing some back pain. So to sit a little bit lowered me just a smidge, and I was able to see that better. I am going to get in pretty close because I want you to take a look at this foot. This is a Janome convertible foot, but do you see how instead of the C-ring facing where you normally would sit and sew from, it actually faces to the side. I also had to add an extension cord so that my pedal could reach from all the way to the back of that machine to the floor. Now my actual pedal, I have added a piece of plexiglass and a stopper. I purchased these also at Menards. You could probably get them at Lowe's. This is glued on here with, well, not hot glue. Oh, I can't think of the name of the glue. Darn it. So this particular thing prevents the pedal from going all the way down. So it only goes down as far as the floor, right? So it forces me not to go too fast. I did make an anti-grip slider thing if I wanted to do that. So I have a lot of extension cords, probably is a fire hazard. I don't know. We're not going to talk about that. Here's some things that I've added just for interest. Do you see this little kitty cat leash right here? So what I've done is I have made the kitty cat leash my way of shutting off the machine. So if you're quilting from the front and you need to turn this thing off, you got to come all the way around to the back. So what I have done is attached a command strip. I put the kitty cat leash on there, and all I have to do to turn that off and on is pull that switch, so it's super handy. I have also added a Superior Threads thread cone stand. I really love this thing. It's super nice, and all I have done is velcroed it to the machine. That way I can use bigger cones. See, I've also added an anti-fatigue rubber mat. Found that to be super helpful. And I think, guys, that's kind of the basic setup for me. Okay, well, that is my basic setup. So I hope you found that helpful and some good information there. If you have any questions, make sure that you leave comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know next time I upload videos. And please feel free to share my YouTube channel with other quilters that you know or any quilting groups that you are in, if the admins and moderators let you do that. So anyway, that's it, guys. So we'll see you next time. Bye.